on my election. And I think Ann said that her and Kelly has made a notation on it, but on the voting machines, on the county election, the 062, I was asking for $7,000 for new poll pads. And the Secretary of State's office opened up a grant and I applied for it and they gave it to me. And Diego came last week and let us know that we got it, and he came for a visit last Friday. So that could be zero.
Oh my God.
Well,
I'm sure that was the only thing I had questioned.
Your budget is the easiest out of everybody.
Well, there was no election. I didn't have.
I know, trust me. But I just, as I scrolled through it and looked at it all, I was like, God, I love her. So there you go.
Well, if I don't need it, I'm not gonna ask for it. So.
Not really. I mean, yes, but no.
No, mine won't even look anyway, so.
So on professional services and contracts, you had a big decrease as well. Under the perpetuation fund.
Well, I should ask for the same thing. Is it here?
Yes.
Like, is your bottom number like 22,000?
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay.
So a contract fell off or something that you don't need anymore? Or?
No, that's the same. That's what I've always had.
We bought something this year.
Oh, yeah, I had to move money. That's what happened. I bought stuff for the courthouse. So I had to move money up the bottom of my perpetuation line up. So it probably looks like there was more in there for this year, but it was only because I had to buy like filing cabinets, the voter storage cards, some safes, some items like that for the judicial center.
Showing in 24, it was $13,000 and 25 budget request is $3,000. Seeing that right?
What line are you on?
It's 30503 under clerk's perpetuation fund 1119.
Their budget was 3,000. They're probably,
And then that's what I moved up that 10.
Huh?
And then I moved up that 10.
Yeah.
To pay for that.
So she's asked for the same dollar amount.
Yeah. So 3,000, it stayed the same, 3,000.
That's outsourced.
Yeah, because I moved up that in like one of the council meetings.
And that fund has continued to grow.
Yeah, every month.
Very
Yeah,
good.
every month. We don't use, like, we use it for like shredding, but we don't use it. We don't use a lot of it.
You said that grant received was for a new election machine?
It's for election improvement. And I requested new poll pads, like that you check in on election day. And we have some of the oldest in the state. So originally when budgets were due, I turned in the budget requesting it. And then we went to conference and the Secretary of State came and said, hey, I'm doing this grant and anyone that wants to apply for it. He'd already done it one round.
I saw that come from their office, that notification that they were offering that grant.
Yeah. So I applied for it and found out like the end of July, I think it was, that we didn't get it. And then he came like just for like photo opportunities.
Eagle likes his photo
Yes,
opportunities.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's all.
Any other questions or anything on?
It's wonderful.
Did you make everybody's budget look that easy?
And it's not that easy, it's just your eloquence and all of your history and knowing what you need.
Yeah.
What'd you know?
Yeah. So it'll be different next year because let's have an election in 26, but. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Here, right? Pause the stream a second.
Hi.
Can't see it. You want us to move that board?
Yeah, for the border, I have to put it back up here because I can't see the control.
See now?
you are.
I never thought you were gonna see that.
What's that?
That's share screen.
Share screen.
And go. Just have to go, not yet, then.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
We do. Oh.
And I don't wanna, it'll take your, is there a plug over there for your computer? Is it?
Sorry.
I didn't know how
We
we would.
can just not stream.
Yeah, we don't have to. You wanna just, you have to stream.
I mean, it's completely, it's fine. I mean,
It's up to you guys.
Things we have to think about and work through, I guess.
Yeah.
I had a lot of parents with that.
It's reconfiguring. You're trying to stretch both ways, Kelly.
They're gonna be doing loud stretching.
Arranging the furniture.
Now we won't see your back. You're good also.
All those boards.
Is yours are turned enough?
I tried to, I think I got some of those on there for you guys. That was my effort.
She might be.
Why don't we?
I need to move.
You are good.
You're in the neutral zone.
All right, and then we'll have.
I go through and like works from Adobe.
I'm gonna share that with
Stuff, like you can make sure the numbers all come through right.
Right?
I told her, I said, next year, share that with them. So rather than Zoom 10 times faster.
This is unfortunate.
Thank you. Oh. I didn't breathe dirty air on you, Dad.
No.
What do you think about putting it in the mix?
No, I just know I have just, no, when you, so. I wonder how many counties, like. I'm sure the auditor's office has it, but I wonder how many councils work off of that. I don't know the budgets. Are we good?
Sorry.
Okay, so auditor's office.
All right. Didn't change a whole lot. Office supplies, official records, we might have bumped just a little bit to be able to, because of the increase in costs.
Travel.
That was mine too.
Okay, the travel in every single department is gonna look like there's a lot more there because in order to free up the budget last year, we used, what's that fund number? 1217, which is elected officials travel. And that was a completely different one. So because we depleted quite a bit in that last year, we put the travel back into each individual budget this year.
Oh,
So
I didn't
that's-
realize when we did that fund couldn't sustain what we did last year.
It took a pretty big hit. Yeah. So we want to build that back up again. So travel's back into our general fund budget. So that's why that's there.
That was all under council, right? That's where that travel, is that where that was last year?
No.
You'll see it in
All of
lots
it was in
individual
1217. So if you like turn the next page,
Bottom of that page.
you'll see it over there. We went ahead and left 1,000 in each one of those categories for everybody in case we need that. Years in the past, it was never utilized, which is what helped it grow quite a bit. So last year being the year that we needed some room in the budget, it was a good year to start utilizing.
So we did, so that's where that was at.
So you took all the rest of these down to 1,000.
Yeah,
So that 5,000 doesn't make up all that difference, so.
well, these, like the clerk, these are all for each individual office. No, my 5,000 isn't gonna make up all of these.
But then in their offices, they get.
This is just gonna be extra. I mean, if you didn't want those thousands in there, and people were running low on their travel, you always come back for an additional appropriation if you don't want those in there. But it's Fund 1217, so it's not going to make a difference on the general fund anyway. Telephone right now,
Does everybody, that makes sense to everybody?
Yeah. The other one is office supplies.
She just moved some of it into her plat book, right? Is that what you're talking about? Why it was nothing and now it's only
Yeah.
500?
where you at?
In your plat book, 1181.
Oh, plat book of maintenance, office supplies.
And then the $100,000 question.
The $1 million question.
Yeah, the 100,000
I know.
office equipment.
Yes. So we are doing some construction in our office. We're going to be tearing down the wall in there when you walk in. And I have budgeted out of the 1181 for new furniture for our office completely. The entire department. We haven't had any new furniture or anything. A lot of the desks are sitting on top of drawers because they're broken. You can't fix them anymore. You can't get parts for them. So that's my 1181 plat book maintenance fund, and that one will not affect it. It is self-sustaining. It does not have anything to do with the general fund either.
I was saying it was pretty healthy at the end of 2023.
Oh, yeah.
Over 309,000.
Oh, yeah.
But just the equipment there, where is the construction, where is that coming from?
That'll be, the commissioners paying for that, and that'll be in 24.
I looked over here. Just need to spread.
For what?
Where did you get with it?
Can you bring up the current balance and in
Oh,
1181?
I had those, I didn't bring my 24 with me, but she printed off these that gave me the end of the year. And so I just took, so the revenue is how much I showed it, this report said it brought in 2022, the balance at the end of 22 and what was expended out of it during that year. And I did the same for 23. I mean, that fund continues to grow.
The plat book maintenance fund is, the way that grows is by deeds and transfers.
Nice.
So we get $10 for every legal description that we do a transfer for. So yes, it is always healthy. Right now, there's $300,500 in there.
How much?
Oh, you said 3.5?
Can you think?
$300,500.
Days.
Yeah.
Can't turn it off.
That's what we used to pay for last year, also like some of the programming and stuff. So like the professional services and contracts, that $10,000, that's data pit stuff. This account, this plat book maintenance fund, it can, very healthy, so it can absorb that. I didn't put that in general either.
Did I miss what the $100,000 was in flat book maintenance and office equipment?
It's equipment.
Remodel.
Remodel.
That's the actual remodeling. And then the furniture is under the office supply line.
Forgive me,
No,
because we're trying to get.
The equipment is, the office equipment is
Commissioner's
the
stuff.
100,000.
Is it
The actual construction is under the commissioners.
Okay.
Is that correct?
$100,000 is furniture.
So the other question I have is,
It's fine. I've got the bid for it.
Oh, you?
miscellaneous, or not miscellaneous, I'm sorry. Yeah, miscellaneous disbursement
Which
incentive.
fund?
Account 30,000 to 39,999. It's under incentives.
The very bottom
Oh,
one,
Title 4D.
Yeah, the 10 to 20,000. What is that?
Did you jump way ahead, Rick?
That-
Here's the bottom.
Yeah, we have, a consultant, Melcon, that comes in and reviews all of our funds for Title 4D. And he works, and then he gets us money back from the state. So that's to pay them.
What you do previously though, why did it go up so much?
They had an increase, I know, didn't they?
You know, if you look in 2023, it was 18,000.
And they utilize 16,000, so they've gone over budget already, right? So what happens to the money you get back from the state then?
Goes in the general fund,
Everything that comes back seems to go into the general fund.
goes back in the general fund.
You have an understanding of how much you got last year?
About 66% Ann said of child support 4D expenses.
So about 66% of whatever we spend in that line item comes back and goes to the general. Roughly. I get it, that's roughly. I put about.
Well, they spend that in general too. This is just a cost that's always been paid out of this incentive fund.
Oh, okay. So there's something that comes out of the general fund for Title 4D also.
Yeah, I mean, their general expenses, salary, stuff like that.
So anytime we see anything that is going out for the cost of Title 4D, roughly we get 66% back from the state.
Yes.
That's nice, since they make us do that.
Thank you very much.
What did you say your actual quote was for your office furniture? Do you know? Did you say we had a quote? I'm just curious.
Let me see if I have.
If you don't have it, you don't have to do it. I thought maybe you just had a ballpark in your head.
We did. It was, I'd say it was 80 something, but we made a couple of changes after I had already give them the go ahead. And so I wanted to have a little bit of cushion there. If we don't use it, it's just gonna roll back in anyway. 85, 86, something like that.
That's a lot of money.
That is, so my entire office. And then payroll and HR. We will all be the same.
You get multiple quotes.
I did. We only had two of them. We're the only two that we could get to respond for this. And the other one, we met with them probably 6 times and they still could not get it right what we wanted. I'd be happy on a break or something to get you guys the paperwork and show you that.
Show you that. Is it gonna be, some of it gonna be like cubicle kind of stuff, like what they put up in the courts?
Yep.
Where it's all connected, where you can't move it unless they come in and,
Mm-hmm.
we used to own a piece like that in our office and it was a healthy piece of equipment.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
Well,
It lasts a long
the
time.
furniture that we have came from the courthouse move. When the auditor's office was at the courthouse 30 some years ago,
Oh, wow.
that's what we have.
It's supposed to last that long.
I mean, there might be a, like behind them, there might be a cubicle behind them, but overall, all the furniture that we have in there, with the exception of the chairs, came from the courthouse when we moved down here.
I had a question on 30503, professional services contracts.
Okay, so the names have changed, so I'm struggling.
This is in.
Under Auditor General.
Yes.
So,
Which one is that one?
you decreased what you budgeted, but you haven't expended any. So,
Professional services contract. 30506.
They just-
I'm not looking at this.
It expended,
Adobe,
I have Adobe.
it expended 12,000.
okay.
I have that.
It's a new line.
Mine shows zero spent.
So last year. Is that 20,000 for last year?
Oh, there's more than one 305.
Yeah.
He's looking at the one.
We have
that's under
Adobe and
general.
Data Pit Stop.
That says data pit stop. I had written
But-
outside of data pit stop.
But I also have,
Under general revenue.
I also have data pit stop now, the other.
Yeah, having them all on the same page is sometimes confusing.
I'm under flat book.
Well, and there was another 305.
Since they all use the same name now, we're struggling with them. a little
Yes,
bit.
no, it made me struggle.
These budgets look way different.
Yeah. So Adobe and Data Pit Stop.
That's what that is.
But I have Data Pit Stop down below in Plat Book 1181.
I'm saying you didn't use any of it last year. In general. You must have covered it all in the flat book.
Yes, I did cover it all out of Plat Book
But this year.
last year.
Okay. So you're kind of just putting this amount in general to buffer it in case that book doesn't cover it.
No, Adobe we want out of here. I guess we could do Adobe out of Plat Book maintenance. It probably wouldn't hurt anything because it's going on all our computers. Because they're gonna be using it back there also, if we wanted to do that. You don't think that'd hurt anything, do you? If we wanted to do that, that would buffer.
Okay.
That would help in there.
You
So,
could zero that.
So you want to leave
So-
in that line?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask. No, you're good, Grace. You
do
can
we
be
know how
anytime you
much
want.
the Adobe is gonna be? I mean, I need the full 10,000 for Data Pit Stop. Okay. Or I can do the Adobe out of 1181 too, because they're getting it back there also. I didn't realize we did either. We can take 10, let's leave the Adobe where it's at. And then take 10,000 off there. I know Data Pit Stop is 10 grand flat. He never raises his price. It's a flat $10,000 period, no matter how many programs we run.
So that's the one coming out of 1181? That's the,
That's the 10,000.
That's the
Data Pit
data?
Stop. Yep,
So leave 2,000 up in general.
yeah,
and then change this to 2,000, and it's gonna be for Adobe.
Adobe.
We've been adding to the description of the account.
Eventually, yes.
I
Yeah,
would appreciate that also.
yeah, and so we were time crunch, but we also will be able to, that column over there where we left 2025 notes.
Mhm.
We also figured out a way to be able to add some more legal description. Is Amy in here? No, not yet. It's either through the notes or there's another field that we found in playing around that we can add some more legal description for everything. So we'll be getting there. There's still a lot of cleanup on it. But we'll get there. So we're gonna take that.
The hope is it'll make this all just wonderful in the coming years.
It will be.
It's gonna be.
Honestly, they have found so many great things already. What are you looking for, Dave?
Just paper.
Don't worry, I'll probably go through more than one.
God,
No.
that's just for you.
I know, you're so good to me, Rick.
I agree.
Departments have that luxury.
Here, it's just a little bit. And so here's my
So you have that we only changed one thing there. We changed under general 3503 from 12 to 2.
So far, we've taken 10,000 out of general. Any other questions for the auditor's office at this point in time? Treasurer's office.
No change.
And I wonder, there's, this is, I think, on your office supplies, you put the same amount in as you did the year previous, but you've only expended not even a third of that to date this year. Do you think that's something we could maybe take? You had 3,000 in there, you expended 825 in office supplies. I don't know if you thought we could take that down to 2,000 and then you run short, we can.
Usually wait till the end of the year to order more paper for the next year is what I usually do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you did have expended 3,023, so, okay.
So we had a new treasurer first of the year.
We're not talking about wages now.
No, say that, we're talking about.
About what
supplies,
their wishes
what she
might be.
needs, the budgets and what they're gonna be.
Anything else for treasurer's office?
No, this came through.
Recorder's office. That's where they put individual travel in. Postage. Without a lot expended.
And not a lot expended the year before.
Danny Luke's been back here for hazard.
Us.
Well, there's one that I did, which would totally come out of the 1189, my perpetuation fund. I wanted to raise Karen, because she had prior 10 years' experience as a chief deputy down in Kokomo.
Yeah, we're not doing wages
Okay,
right now, though.
okay, that's fine.
Just talking about your,
No, nothing else.
under postage.
I did the postage because the rise in the stamps. That's the only thing.
Okay.
That is the only thing, because they're now at 75, 73 cents. So that's why I raised that.
For Rose's state.
Yeah.
You know what?
Do you ever use the postage machine?
Never. When I came here 20-some years ago, never have used the postage machine, Pam, or maybe Mary Jane before that. It was always, we had our own separate item. Always.
Because you can. We can help you with that. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. If you wanted to do that, that's up to you.
Okay. I mean, it's worked for us.
Yeah.
Many people, always worked for us.
Cheaper?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we already have money on it.
So the postage is the same.
The postage is meter
Right,
rate.
out of the commissioners, correct?
So you
Right,
get that rate.
okay. Do you get about that rate?
Metered rate.
We got a metered rate.
I was wrong.
Might still have some for your overnight.
2 cents makes a big difference when you send out that much stuff.
I need to look into that since it's going to be grand postage.
I'd look into it.
There's some that we have.
I think there's a couple $100 out of that, but otherwise,
You can leave it at 1,000,
Yeah.
like it was, and Danny, you'll pursue getting the meter cheaper rate. Possibility. I'm not doing it, so
We're making that change.
lowering it to 1,000 instead?
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
E1.
Not a problem, you two.
Anything else for the recorder? Coming into sheriff. Pretty consistent. Thousands, except for evidence supply.
Nine supported. 2,000 under supplies. Went from 900 to 1,400.
Miscellaneous.
Yes,
Sheriffs.
his K-9 he mentioned when he was here and he presented.
I think they got another dog, right?
See, they're up to
Yes.
3 dogs now. I think the evidence and supplies is what we're seeing the effect of the increased caseloads.
Just looking at their expend over the last 2 years.
220 and
Yeah. That's, take a couple $100 out of that or leave it.
I think you say take $100.
so leave 1,200?
Yep.
Talk about evidence supply, right?
Yep.
Big one to talk about is it right?
Special response.
And that special response team.
That's it, right?
That's not wages. That's not in wages. This is, it's an extra.
It's the uniforms and training.
Supervisor line item.
It's a new budget line item. And I was surprised because I know that I was surprised their golf outing has gotten larger and larger every year. That's how they used to fund it. He said that that money wasn't what, but it's grown.
But I think he said that it's taken care of it, but he was trying to take pressure off. If I remember hearing him right, it was paying the bills, but he was trying to alternate the expense line and not have to do all that.
Is that something where they get, so right, they get their base pay, right? And then they get, when they get different levels, right? Do they get a bump and the other for special?
Are you referencing the
Special
$18,000?
I think that
So
comes
the
from
18
specialty pay up in there.
Right, the $18,000, talking with him about it, is for his needs for the SRT team. All right, he kind of reflected back on 2020 and 2021 when he had no golf outing and a poor golf outing. And they struggled for a couple of years to get it rebuilt back to get the necessary supplies for the team. This is equipment and needs for the team. This has nothing to do with pay, $18,000. And then he can look at his golf outing for the wants, the extras that they may come across. So that's how he described it.
And I'd be okay with us cutting it down from the 18,000. Now, he did say that he's gonna continue to do the fundraising. but-
So even if it's a one-time ask, I think you cut it in half and I think some's better than nothing.
General's the biggest thing that we're worried about. That's the reason why I'm having the conversation.
I think cut it in half and we have to go back to it, we can go back to it one way or another. What do you think?
This is a new ask. Half is better than nothing. This one. Say 10 instead of 9.
Leave
Thinking
10,
12, but
I was thinking 10,000 in there.
leave 10,000.
everybody's comfortable with that.
We'll go from 9 to 10, that's fine. There you go.
I just couldn't totally agree with that.
I know, I knew it. Well, one way or another, it's our last budget together, so there you go.
You never know, though. You just might be in a different atmosphere.
I didn't see anything else in the 3,000s that
So I did have a question, it's the 9,900 to 2,000 professional service contracts. So that's a huge decrease. Why is that $7,900 decrease?
What one are you on?
Yeah,
He said that's SRI's fees.
Yeah, SRI sheriff sales.
SRI would be sheriff sales, yes.
Oh, yep, sheriff auction, yep, I did make that note.
Are we now to the jail?
Yeah.
And pay jail.
Medical service.
Yeah, refresh my memory on medical services.
I have no notes on that.
Is there another source for that? Because
Yes,
I remember
there
you said
is.
the expenses went up, and I can't remember where it was sourced from. Medical services on jail.
Remember, part of the reason why it looks like he spent so much in there is because then we appropriated it back. He spent a big one for a DOC. And then he came here and we reappropriated it back into there.
Oh,
This-
because he had to spend
Because he
it,
had to spend it.
otherwise the state was running out of money, so he had to write
He
the
had
check.
to spend it and he had to
Yes.
do it, right? Didn't that happen?
Yep.
And that's why his
And they
number
told
looks
him,
large for
You
this
pay
year.
for it up front. You have to pay for it up front. If you don't pay for it.
They were very good to him and told him, if you write us a check, if you pay for it and submit the invoice by this, then you'll get it back.
Yeah.
So before we turn the page, back up the top there under overtime, everybody knows that.
Yeah, but we're not in payroll.
I know, but I'm just saying, I don't want to overlook it
I'm
when
not-
we
we
talk
won't.
about
It's
wages
highlighted.
of that.
It's highlighted, right? It's highlighted.
Wouldn't be Ruth if I didn't bring it up.
I love it.
Before you turn the page there, at the bottom is the Fund 1170, like public safety on the sheriff pension plan. I had extensive conversation with them on that because back when we first started accelerating our contribution to that pension plan to buy down the expenses on it, we got ahead of most on that, but our bill is still going up, or we're supposed to be getting where it's going down, and the state, without, according to the sheriff, without letting anybody know, decided to take those to basically like a 10-year amortization instead of a 15. So the funding, the deficit funding they have for the pension plan has to be fixed in 10 years, not 15 years now. So our amount increased again because we're accelerating the pace of repairing the pension fund for everybody across the state.
Even though we've been moving at a higher level.
Yeah, and I asked him if he could review with whoever gives him that budgeting from the state and just make sure that our higher level did buy down appropriately. I didn't hear back from him on that, but he was going to check on that.
And a note on there that 35,000 of it goes straight towards the pension fund.
Yeah, he uses his extra money after we give him the appropriation, then he puts his kitty money in down on that 35,000 afterwards.
Are we on page 9 now?
I just think it's really great that we actually fund a pension plan. I'm not for that one.
Yeah. So on gas and oil.
He needs 126,000.
He needs 126.
Okay.
He thought the
Commissioners would pay
commission would
for it,
pay
yeah.
for his fund.
So that brings up something we're gonna have through our whole budget, so we may as well just, we got the commissioners here now, let's just talk about that. I noticed a lot of increase in gas budgeted throughout several departments, and fueling station is gonna save us a lot on gas, and gas prices will remain stable. So what are your thoughts? I know there's some departments you weren't sure yet if they were gonna use the fueling station.
I think they're all using
Yeah.
fueling station. The only time they won't be is if they're outside the area. The sheriff, for example, has to take someone to. Yeah, they should start a decrease,
Yeah. So
quite frankly.
do you think that, do you as council think you want to see this as departmentally, like it's presented to us in our budgets now, so that we can kind of track the expenditures within that, or put all fuel under commissioners there's reporting that they can do, who's pulling them. According to breakout. And then it would simplify a lot of transactional stuff for the auditor's office for claims.
The only thing I would suggest you down is the highway department. That comes out of the vehicle general.
So thoughts on that?
Then we would just get a quarterly report or whatever from the auditor's office, which department it's been on fuel or,
Is that really gonna be easier for you, Kelly?
okay.
So you can actually track.
It's per vehicle
Go
now.
for one or two.
I'm gonna have to see how it plays out. It would just be one line then.
I know it would be one line, but if you're making a report on top of it, is it easier for you to have it, each department head is doing it and turning it into you, or is it? Do you understand where my question is coming from?
Yes, I
I'm just
understand.
trying to
Place it in my head. The one fund. It's just another report. I know, and
Well, that's it. I know that it's
just.
just, I'm the one that has to make reports in my office, so I know it's, just another report.
How would it come through though? If the fuel station do something or would you rely on the employees who submit a ticket or something? Department head submit to the auditor's office?
I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work yet.
It's got a program with the cards that tell who and when.
Yeah.
So even though it's our own fuel station, they'll still have to swipe a card, so it'll still be.
Same as they're doing now.
Yes. And I think we'll have a card and probably a punch pad. Yeah, a number.
There's cameras out there.
Yep, there will be. Yep.
We'll still be able to have the accountability for each one, so they're not.
If they give us, we can still hold the.
I think it gives we're discussing this a little bit, but I think it gives the department head and the employees a little more responsibility in their use if it's under each one of their departments.
They're actually keeping track of how much to spend.
A little more oversight.
Leave it as is.
In their individual.
So is this gas and oil line, this is in lit? It's add back of 106,000.
And it's already been
Yeah, we're
adjusted.
in left with that gas.
When we did our,
Yes.
when I did my read.
So it's not affecting.
It's not gonna,
It's not affecting general.
no,
Okay, good discussion on that.
So are we leaving 126 then, or with the better pricing, you
Yeah.
wanna leave a different?
126 is what we ended up putting in.
Okay.
What you're asking is, can we take a little there since they should have 120, you know?
Is there any advantage to taking that though?
No.
Because it's in lit.
Well, but if you read that letter we got from Jeff, he's, because of what's paid for out of property taxes, lunch. Yeah. When we look at what we cut from what gets paid for out of property taxes, the plan has general health, aviation, public safety lit funds lumped together for the number to cut.
This is.
I gotta be honest, I mean, I think you should see a 10% reduction in cost easily. Sorry. And so I think that across the board, all gas and oil should come out at least 10%. If they have to come back and ask for more, we can appropriate more.
So save money, so you saying leave 100,000 in there?
I was gonna say 100,000 sounds like a good solid number.
Okay.
100,
Leave
100,
leave 100,000.
$100,800, that's exactly 80%.
100,000.
We're doing 100,000?
So we're adding 80.
Adding 80.
So that was previously paid out of what?
They paid it out of
It
it.
was paid out of
It was paid out of it, because 126 came out. I mean, was appropriated last year.
Yeah, so we're not overly impacting compared to the year before.
Here's your medical services you were asking about then. Does the majority of the medical get paid for? You did say there's 5% increase in that.
Yes.
But why did meals go down?
Because, well,
Population.
Yeah.
Jail population.
yeah, that's, I remember we talked about he's at 70, 80, I think is what he's been.
80 that.
Yeah, and that's a significant increase.
We're taking out of 200,000.
Yeah.
He's at 82.
And even if you were here for part of that, that was not in mine.
You just got to out of this.
I wouldn't remember anything.
So you said his population is going down, that's why he's not able.
He's run 25% less population
Since when? Because I thought.
this year, just this year.
He's also taking less high level. He's not taking, I don't think he's taking any right now. So he's not taking any high level, so he's getting paid for on top of that. The comment is they're not retaining people, like, so they're just letting them out, even in our insurance. We
It's been
don't.
a thing is every time, because we're supposed to be
Cut.
staff for. To the
So we could do it all over again.
Anything else on page 9?
Yeah, we're still on page 9.
What's your question?
No,
That's
so far, I mean, I think, I just made some notes here that, I mean, he's got insurance going up 45%. It's crazy.
And I would question that because that's the amount that.
I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying like, even if social security's going up, so, FICA and social security's going up 17%. I get it, I'm just looking at some general numbers that are pretty significant.
So I guess I had one question. For the statewide 1222 is what he expends out of there is less, is more than the revenue that he takes in there. Was there something? So he's asking for 709,000
Oh, department total.
department total, and the revenue into that is only in the mid sixes.
So we traditionally pushed and pulled positions in and out of there, between there and general. And last year, he was questioning whether we could do that or not. And I kind of did my forecasting based on years past of what we did. And we put another position into there. So
Last year.
yeah. So that expending has increased, and if we have to pull another position back to general, we can do that.
So my question was, was anything from there, could it go to the 1235? Because we didn't completely fill out 1235, right? So would there be a way to make that a little bit more
That's
balanced?
still not helping general.
No, I'm sorry. I also was just,
Yeah.
I looked at accounts that didn't look like they were sustainable over
Right.
time.
Yep. That's
Nope, go ahead, finish it.
Because I know it doesn't help general, but in the end all, if
the
we,
sustainability on that is why we fluctuate. Sometimes it gains, sometimes and we move something into it if it's getting ahead for the year, and then sometimes we pull back.
So it's been a balancing act.
So which one are you talking about? 12?
That's
I
statewide.
can't quite get it head on where
Because
we
we have
usually go on.
reinvestments already in there. So are you talking in general, the whole fund?
Yeah.
No changes to it right now, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Did not make any changes yet.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on page 9? Page 10 on state land, one of the miscellaneous repair and maintenance increase.
Yearly contract for in digital.
In digital.
So that went up sixfold.
1,030.
So did the software cost more or?
Yes.
Because they did the big upgrade here not too long ago,
You know,
because it hadn't been done for
So got
8 years, 9 years.
got on the page.
Those security cameras and stuff,
No, the whole phone system.
the phone system.
Phone system with pagers.
He gave us the spread, the papers from the individual company that talked about all the technology improvements. It's a big one, right?
They're out of date.
And it's used 6 times.
But it was way out of date.
Was it
Wait.
functions?
This is all
Just-
12. That's a huge
I don't know.
number of what
Yeah.
brings. I think I'd be able to sustain that for 2 years.
But we gotta talk about what we're rolling into 12.
Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Okay,
So-
good. We are talking about rolling something down from 1222 to 1235.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about 1235 with the amounts and positions there. Patron gets wages. Down in 1235 telephone. 35.
So we're on page 10 now.
Yeah, increase of 14,000.
What are you looking at,
We're
Bill?
looking at in Minneapolis.
Telephone in 1235.
Okay, so when we get to wages.
When we
yeah,
get
because
there,
I had
yeah.
a note there. What's
And they've only spent.
Yeah, we've got it all figured out
Okay.
on that where they were off.
So big increase in telephone.
The new system, right?
Is that from that pager system?
No, I thought he did a whole new phone, whole new server, whole new phone system in dispatch.
It's only expended 572 so far year to date.
Okay, so Ann,
Did
what's
we
that?
do a new phone system and am I crazy?
He did a whole new phone system, yes.
But that was just a one-time shot that wouldn't affect that line item?
I think this is a better question.
Ann?
Him or Ann.
What is
Somebody.
paid out of the lit PSAT telephone?
31,000.
I believe it's their Frontier bill. And you're gonna see a smaller amount in there because it was paid out of general.
Oh, right, because we didn't put that stuff over until June. And it didn't actually hit until a little later than that, right? Until into July.
Half year. Gotcha.
So it had maybe paid a bill by the time this had come out.
Can you tell us how much has come out of it so far?
In general,
There's like 572 spent on this report.
Just trying to make sure that 50,000 is warranted.
This is our first year with these two new funds and it's different.
so there's.
Yeah, it's very deceiving, very deceiving.
There's been almost 2,000 spent out of there since we started spending in there.
So it's.
So 2 months
In
worth.
general, what's it?
Let me look at general, yeah.
Yeah.
In general, they had spent almost 15,000.
About $17,000 year to date is what we're saying. So that goes to that 36. Does it warrant 50?
Yeah, that's what we're,
I can tell you what they spent total last year.
Please.
But it's also a different system midstream, right?
So last year they spent almost 45,000 total.
I'd like to take 5 out of that.
500 or 5?
Well, this is going to the PSAP. So we have potential to add more, right? It's not, PSAP is not, we're not,
We're gonna need to pull from 1222 down into 1235 to balance. I think we want to have realistic numbers. If they spent 45 and there was a change this year, I'm going to guess that 50 is probably on point.
But is there a change? It's a one-time pull. It's not gonna be it's not a contract increase, right?
Did we?
I think the 50,400 is a pretty definitive number based on.
So they picked the four.
Based on something.
Yeah.
It's 10% over last year's,
Right.
is what they did. So,
It sounds like a pretty set request
yeah.
based on my monthly cost.
So 10% was the justification.
Because volunteers costs all went up 10% under.
Budget's off.
We pulled 2,500,
Doing communications, are we doing sheriff's?
but again, it's P-STAT. I keep fighting on that.
Yeah, I'd say leave 5,400.
Okay.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
I think we spent so much time over what we wanted to pull into this to begin with.
That's why that communication
But-
tower is for a full year versus a half year.
My question is, we talked about, you did find out that we could pull in, I know Spillman is payroll, but the Spillman continuing education, that could come too?
No, Spillman, can't Spillman come in? I thought we talked about this.
We had to get verification and yes, they said it could.
So can the education come too? So should that be in here? Because it's
Yes.
not here now, right?
It can be.
So that's a whole,
So that would be. I just don't want to miss it when we talk about what
No,
can go
no,
into it. When
no,
those
it's not,
two,
yeah, but yes.
the continuing education is now, right? And that was under, is that originally under the commissioners?
I know we ain't just.
I just wanted to make sure I remembered correctly. So the education, will it still stay in the 300s? Since it was originally in the 300s, or I don't know how that, the 3000s, I'm sorry. Is that how it works?
These are all
Yeah.
different things, but what is miscellaneous?
Oh, right here.
What it is for medical care.
So it is on page 25, $4,000 for 3830.
3830.
$4,000 continuing ed for Spillman.
No, when they serve.
Oh,
Got money. You get paid for certain things. Because that's not a general, that's
What was that?
language.
That was my PG language.
Are we on page 11 now or no?
I'm sorry, I had flipped up
That's
to,
what we need to figure
in
out.
the third 3000s there, under PSAP is where we'll add the 4,000 for Spillman's continuing education. And then it can be removed from the 3000s under the commissioners on page 25.
Hold on.
Where's mine, Tony?
I don't know.
Tell him, take this. Child labor is illegal.
Pushing your bill.
actually,
I'll take a Sprite the next time you come back.
All right.
Christina, so on page 25, what did we do?
The Spillman continuing education, it's in that mauve color, 38,300. Can come off of there, but it is added to the 3000s,
So that $4,000 there.
that $4,000.
So make sure we flag it, because we gotta make sure where we advertise that,
That it matches.
well, that we don't go over.
Okay. Anything I've changed, I highlighted in yellow.
Okay.
I don't have tabs this year, I'm highlighting.
Okay, so let me back up.
We don't have that.
So in the Commissioners General. Oh, we're skipping that one.
Right, because we skipped Spillman because Spillman's actually
That's payroll.
with payroll.
In General Commissioners, we are cutting 4,000. And move it to PSAP.
Correct. So now are we done on page 10?
Page 11.
All right, get back to me.
Incidentally, there's a $4,000 increase in continuing education. And on page 11, I was wondering about.
What line item?
Under Fund 2550. Law enforcement, use received.
Oh,
Those are self-funded special funds. And is that sustainable in there? 38,300.
Yeah, I heard there's around $50,000 in that fund.
Which one are you guys asking about?
2550.
It has a cash balance of $50,405.
And it takes more than that in a year. Pay for our cops to be trained.
That question down under Marine Patrol grant is, shows it in 23, showed 0 for 24, and then we had it.
It's 15,000 every year, even though he applies for 80 something another.
No, I know, but it showed a 0 for last year.
It does.
It didn't previously go through budgets.
Oh,
We're
didn't?
trying to now, yeah.
Oh, that's where we're gonna see all the grants, right? That's why we see the
Not all
cop,
of them,
but that's why we see the
Yes.
cop hiring grant.
He brought that up at last meeting. He was talking about the auditor's office. That shown.
Page 12?
Nothing. I just had the gas and oil again. Why isn't it? It is interesting. He wants to get a second vehicle eventually. Oh, okay. Right now he has just a side by side. Officially runs with the survey. Okay. He wants chairs.
Envelope paper folder.
Page 12 now.
Yeah.
That's down there to the office.
Yeah, the first one, I had to, was to buy some new desk chairs.
All right, the office equipment is budget costs with our department heads. He had asked for a little machine that folds paper, stuffs envelopes. Because of all the reassessments, they're sending out a lot of information, a lot of paperwork. And so instead of somebody sitting there folding paper by paper and
And I have that he wanted 2,500 when he came and he talked to us. He said
Yes.
increase to 2,500 for the folding machine. Even though we only advertised 15.
right, he wanted to raise it $1,000.
Yeah.
I tell you, that department is doing it now the way it's supposed to be done. Making each person that from each watershed pay for the improvements of their watershed. That's why the next page I'm gonna talk to you about a $50,000 decrease.
So,
I had the same conversation with him. He said, Rick already called me. Okay.
page 12, we're at
Yeah.
1,000 to
But they,
40,001.
so my question,
Sorry.
I had a question about that. The money that we're going to be supplementing back in, that's coming off of ARPA. If we had some of these things, since we advertise that at that full amount, could we have some of that come off of that instead of out of general? I mean, I know it's just technically going right back into general, but would it, is that silly for me to think that way?
I don't understand your question. I know you're talking to Will.
I was talking to Will.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Are you saying rather than paying for the $2,500 for those two pieces of
Yeah, like
equipment, pay it out of ARPA?
out of that amount that we know that's gonna be coming in, then we could keep kind of track of the things that we've added for people in one spot.
You'd have to you'd have to take that to the ARPA committee.
But since we have the entire committee here today,
Um,
we can maybe not get a vote on it, but we can get a nod, right?
That was my only, I know
We've
that
kinda
you
done
told,
that, get
I know that there was
reciprocated on the
talk
other
about,
side,
oh,
right?
we'll just use it to pay insurance or do this to come back in and bolster up general, but mine was, if we had an idea of where we were really at in general, if we knew. It was just a question.
Question for the auditor.
And I still think if we decide to do that, we're gonna do something in that line.
Oh, I agree. No, I meant the paper folding machine.
Yeah.
Then it would be a place where we tracked the stuff that we bought for people this year. That isn't a normal expense. That is, it would just keep it out of general. When we're looking at general, then we'd really be looking at the nuts and bolts of general instead of this plus.
Yeah, we did this year.
And we added this. It was just a thought.
Maybe check it. Yep.
Just paying it like this.
So when you get to that, it's supposed to be zero.
Oh, so that I just hit something that's gonna change already?
So we're adding 1,000 to the
Wait, you can't just go on. You can tell me.
right? Yeah, we're gonna do this page. I'm trying to clear this page. Right, so you got 2,500 in on that line. Right. Equipment.
That's what you decided to do.
No, I haven't decided anything. I'm asking.
So can we back up just a little bit? We just got done talking about taking 10% off of all of everybody's gas because we should reduce costs, not increase costs. That's why we invested in the, now I know that he's hoping for a second vehicle, but that's not here. That's not today. That's not now. So my dime is if he spent $6,300 last year, I'd like to see 10% taken off that. Right?
Taken off of last year or taken off of what he's asking for this year? Because we took it off of what the sheriff asked for, not, I guess, it was the same amount.
So my hope is that we can take 10% off of the 6,300. If we have to appropriate gas down the road because he does get a new vehicle, then, okay, let's do that. Let's worry about that then, not today. We don't have enough money just sitting around for no reason, right? So, I mean, so I'd like to pull his back to 6,300 and then take 10% off of that.
I'd ask the commissioners, what's the timing on him getting the second vehicle? The probability.
I was not aware of that.
Okay, so
So it's not even coming.
So let's leave 6,300.
no,
You're wanting to take even
let's take
that.
it down to 5,500.
Oh,
Yes, no. We're just talking 10%. Look at the knot. The knot is there, right? So, I mean,
I'm
Stay in my lane.
yes. So I would
They've already
suggest.
spent 3,000.
Start watching.
Correct. So they budgeted 6,300 last year. They went through 5,200 last year. 5,300, yes. So we're hoping to realize a cost savings of at least 10%. So I think 5,500, $800 is, we did that, we did more than 10% the sheriff's department.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, 55, so leave 5,500.
22,000.
So cut 2,000 out of his ask. It's not against him, it's just, we're trying to get to a number.
What's
what I was waiting
the 10% number, 5,500?
Yes.
so I into the track.
You know, I don't have a filter, right? Okay, just making sure.
Color 10.
Are we now on page 13 then?
I got colors.
The red
I got
pen.
colors. Yeah, I got colors. You can color.
So office supplies is gone up 300.
So. You
I
is
agree.
going to,
Office equipment he needs
Yes,
to
no.
realize.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay with that.
minus 2,000.
See, we just paid for that. No, the gas just paid for it. 3.5 years of ROI for that barn needs to be realized in our.
Not heavy breathing is not about getting bald.
Dang it.
I'm okay with that.
Stay there.
Who's it about?
All right.
Page 13. Page 13.
Everybody with that?
Yes.
The only thing there is the general drain improvement.
Increasing.
We did add 1,000 to this.
Yep, office equipment.
Yep.
So that's at 20.
3017.
Because he said he would take the other 50 out of his perpetuation.
Last year, we actually didn't give him anything. He asked for, they put 150,000 in like 4 different places and we mistakenly deleted it out of all 4. But then the commissioners were so glad to, to.
Okay.
Let's leave 50,000 because whenever you do improvements on drains, the people in that watershed do have up to 4 years to pay that back. So there needs to be a little bit of a.
So we have a story
Ellie's raising
here.
her hand.
We do. Hold on 1 second till I finish writing and then I will tell you.
We talked about this on that Tuesday, about 100,000.
My notes from when we did this were that we were taking it to 0 for the commissioners. We left it in there so that we could cut it. It bolstered just a little bit, but my notes say take it to 0. Am I incorrect? Commissioner Howard? I'm correct?
I had it at 0.
He had it at 0. I have it at 0.
Bank.
They need to pay attention to their funds.
They have funds available to do that.
There's tons of money in that perpetual.
No, but can that,
What, perpetuation fund?
Yeah,
That can't be spent on
used
that.
for that.
Well, that's only a corner marking, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
oh,
All right.
then why
But
did he say he can split it with us and half can come out of that when I talked?
because he has enough money to be able to pay for it. I agree. I think we take it to 0. He can always come back and ask.
Okay. Why was it in there for 150 last year? In here for 100 if the plan was just to cut it?
Okay. So years ago, there was a negative balance on one of the funds. Can't tell you what the number was.
That's what the 77,000.
77,000. That's why that fund was always bolstered. Basically offset that. We paid that off. I think, did we do that through ARPA?
We did it through ARPA.
Okay, we paid that off with the anticipation that they were supposed to move electronically upstairs and get away from the handwritten ledgers. And then we should not need this anymore. They should be able to function on their, each one of those funds should be able to be self-supporting. Oh, there's other stuff that'll go into it, but that's why that was 150 to begin with. It was to help offset that negative 77,000, if I remember correctly. Roughly, maybe.
I'm comfortable with 0.
25.
So glad you are, Tony.
I say leave 25 in.
25,000, even though.
I'm comfortable.
I'm just saying it wouldn't have been there if I'd have taken it out.
We were supposed to take it out.
It was supposed to come out, but because we had to re-advertise, we just left it
All right.
to keep it higher.
Since this is informal,
But your call.
0? What's your feelings, Lisa?
I'm a no on 0.
I like Ruth until they get the money from the people. Does it stop all work on drains then if they have no funding?
No, they have funding. They have money in it.
So is their funding different than the
As long as
perpetuation
they
fund?
watch
Is there
to
something
make
we're
sure
not
they
seeing?
can get projects done.
Is that it, when we're looking at their budgets? Because it ends with the perpetuation fund. So when you guys talk about, so the drain funds are separate
Yes.
and all of their accounts are positive.
No,
No, correct.
they're
Cash wise they are.
cash-wise they are.
Cash wise, they're all positive.
Each different watershed fund are not all positive.
Because they haven't been addressed in 26 years
That's just.
of.
Which is, he's still doing,
That's what they're
but,
doing.
I mean, he's doing it. We've watched him do it. We've watched him work hard in this department, and we've watched him raise them.
You're gonna have to talk louder, Ian.
No, I mean, I'm not really the person to speak on them, but I mean, they're technically not negative. That's just how they've always ran those funds. They always look negative. Their cash is positive. The fund has money overall.
Zero's a good number.
It's just that they're supposed to be repaid. That's why they put them like that.
So next.
Showing it as a liability on a balance sheet. So
Does Michelle love that? Yeah.
I feel like Ruth served there and paid attention to that for a long time, so I really respect your opinions on this. Know more about it than I do. But then that's contradictory to commissioners are comfortable with the zero, so
Ruth, will you be comfortable with 25 or is that?
It's been 3 years from that department, right? I've seen the progress and I commend them on the progress.
But while they're doing that progress, they're doing these huge dollar amount things where the fund only took in like $40,000 projects. The fund only took into $5,000 a year. So they are getting them back up to where they need to be, but it's going to take a while to get that back to pay for that 40,000 project that got done. And each different watershed could possibly have their own, and they are working diligently at getting this all better.
this is accountability thing then, right? Just pressure's on in your department to make it keep happening.
Well, and they did it with nothing last
They
year.
did it with nothing, yeah. So they've already,
So they've done it with nothing is the point, right? I mean, and
Yeah, well,
they had a
except that we
surplus
put in
going.
71,000 from ARPA.
to pay for a debt that had been
could never get
years
repaid.
before that couldn't be repaid because there was
Yeah,
not.
There's no way to
enough
capture it.
Yeah, it is. Okay, here's all I'll just say, and I'll leave it to that. I promise, I won't say anything else. And
I don't believe
I don't believe that.
No, about this, about this. It's just the challenge. The challenge here is that we're trying to cut and get to a number for general. And if you've got commissioners and that was supposed to have already, we weren't even supposed to see this. It was supposed to already been pulled out. Now we're seeing it, and we're trying to put money back in, essentially, of 25,000 that wasn't actually in there. So again, I told you I wasn't gonna say anything else about it.
But mine is, I think that a liaison from a department telling us we need to pay attention, who does their due diligence. I trust Bruce.
But then again, you have to know that all three commissioners are the drainage board too. So, you know, I'm just putting my plug in feedback. You're the one that makes the decisions as to what funds get
I'll voice
collected
my
or not.
opinion here. It's just 1-7, so. I'm 0. Okay. And I'm okay with that. That's just my opinion though. And I qualified it beforehand saying I respect because your time in this, you know more about it than I do. So don't consider that disrespectful to you.
No, it's merely 1 of 7 here. We vote as a board.
Lisa?
I'm feeling it from both sides.
It's because you're in the middle. If we take it to 0 and they need money, they just come and ask for it at the end of the day.
It doesn't stop progress,
It
right?
doesn't stop progress.
All right. Or 0 then. 0.
You
0.
get into that?
Okay.
I'm 1 of 7 and you got your number.
All right, we'll take that to 0. You can let it.
In a year?
For both pieces?
2 pieces.
He gave us a copy of it. Can you have it? Yeah, this is the paper folder. Oh, you're right. It says our price was $1,040.46.
Yeah.
It says each. What is that? Is there more than one? This is what he gave us that day.
Each paper folder. You don't charge. You just gotta fill the fund.
Fix it, yeah.
Fix the project.
Number for folds 4,000 sheets an hour.
All this.
That's what, yeah, we have that he raised it.
Above the cost of that.
Above the
Oh,
400.
was the other because he wanted these envelopes?
Pretty sure that was.
The 502.85 or the 876.70 for the 5,000 peel and seal flaps. I'm not so sure you need a peel and seal. I do a lot of mail, probably more than the surveyor's office, and I make my girls use a stick. I don't make them lick it, but we use a stick.
And you're not very nice, because that's a pain in the butt. Peeling is so much easier.
The price when you're looking at it at the end is, I'm sorry, she said that she thought the machine cost was included. I still had my stuff from Jim in my book. And so she thought that the 1,500 included what he needed, not that he needed 2,500. And so that's where the conversation came back to.
And then up here.
I asked for $1,000 is what's fixed in my head.
Mine too, but they were saying that they thought he may have misspoke, that it was already in the budget. If that's correct, am I understanding what I thought was happening?
Yeah, and it's already increased. That 1,500 already includes that folding machine. And the envelopes should be in office supplies. Either under general surveyor or under drainage board. Both of them had an increase in office supplies.
Those are chairs, was that part of it?
Yeah, because the one that was higher, that went to 1,500, he said because they wanted new desk chairs.
Who's liaison with that department? Can you find that out before the end of the day today? If the 1,500 includes his
Okay.
mailing machine or
And if,
Well-
if these chairs would be an improvement for them.
Oh, geez. People deserve good
they
chairs.
asked for the chairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so maybe we don't need chairs, so we can revisit that one later in the day.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Ruth.
Yeah, I'll talk to them on our lunch, if we do a lunch break today.
yeah, because if you put the machine and the envelopes together, that's 1,917.16. So, oh, it can't come?
Yeah.
I was trying to make his number make sense.
Yeah, 8,000s are supply. If we're still on 13 then, why don't we backtrack to 12? We're waiting for a couple answers. Like to hear from the commissioners on lit on the allocations. Various nonprofits and such.
I think I have to do that under commissioners.
Well, it's in here under lit. It's under both.
It is, because it's not highlighted.
Don't be highlighted under the.
I'm sorry, that's where all my notes are, but I can jump.
Nope, no. Wait for that.
It's because your stuff shows up so many times.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It's
when
a
I
little,
see that, but
no,
yeah,
the
when I
highlighting
go
was
like
way
this,
better,
I
Amy.
get that.
Thank you for the highlighting. It was way better. Thank you. Right, that was you.
We on 14?
Well, I got one other question. We got utilities here jumping up $30,000.
So if it's not highlighted, it'll be highlighted in the budget in which we discuss it.
Yeah, we'll talk about all the rest of the stuff when we.
Does that make sense?
Because you're only on the surveyor right now.
Right, that was how you designed it for us.
One department, everything for them.
Page 15, is that what we're doing?
Yes. Except I'm not in charge, so I don't know why I answered. I'm sorry, Lisa, I couldn't help it.
That's okay.
I'm getting there. So GIS would fall under that as well. Page 14.
Yeah.
Discussion. Okay.
Gas and oil.
Gas and oil. Where you at? On
Page
page
15.
15 now, okay.
Oh, you wanna cut his 15, you wanna not give him the 1,700, go back to the 1,500 and cut it to 80%?
Yeah. What's our number, Tony? 1,200?
No, I think.
1,200 would be.
300 is, yeah, 1,200.
1,200.
Okay.
Do you think there's that much potential savings in this fuel system?
Minimum, 10%, right? I mean,
That's
there's
why
gotta
we're
be.
doing it, isn't it?
What?
What?
We're buying it and we're being able to store it at a higher level, right?
How about we say minimum?
That was what the socialist, when they gave the presentation of
The
the
ROI is
filling
supposed to be
station.
3.5 years. So if it's 3.5 years, and those kind of savings, gotta be.
Close to 10%.
So in that particular one for the coroner's office too, if you looked at his expend in the last couple of years, it's been way below what he's budgeting now as well. So I'm comfortable with that. Now, your cut is way more than 10%, what you just proposed,
Yeah,
but
that's 20, because somehow 10% went to 20, but I mean,
based on the expend, I think that's probably safe.
I did 80%.
So we're saying leave 1,200.
Maybe 12.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight with you, so, because you're giving me more than I'm asking for, so I'm in.
You're right. I did it times 80%, not times 90. Oops, I'm sorry, Dan.
So he had quite a significant decrease in medical supplies, but going into 2024, we had agreed to purchase
No, it's the second.
tables for the cooler in the basement and the transport cot, which he has purchased both. So that's why there's that decrease in the medical supplies.
Thank you.
But still an increase over last year as far as the $9.99, right?
Right, but along with that, the price of lab supplies have, like everything else in the medical field,
150%?
have shot up. Plus, his quantity is based on his run volume, so I'm comfortable leaving that.
Okay.
The assessor's office?
We just changed one thing, just the gas. Correct? I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
What's that?
What'd you say? It's personal to you. I get it. What's that?
And this,
Coroner's office.
that's what you said.
I said, I wonder if anybody here, it's personal for the coroner's office. I said, anybody here? I said, it's personal to you.
Feeling
Just
your
a-
passion.
Just a thought before we move on out of that. Vehicle repairs and maintenance.
Oh, he got a new vehicle. Heck,
What's that?
It's that whole man.
Do we need?
I pick on you.
Do we need any of that though to do a changeover? Or is that paid for?
You might want to keep like general maintenance, like oil changes and that kind of stuff.
What do you mean, like the
The lights and stuff.
lights and radio changeover? Radio is gonna be changed over in-house. Programmer,
It'll be
gonna help get that installed, but the light, I think the lighting package, if memory serves, will come out of his remaining fund request, right? His remaining fund request of, because of the vehicle and the discount fee through the dealership he bought it from, he's got some funds left in there of what we approved at the ARPA committee, that he can outfit it and light it.
So what do you suggest?
But he's gonna be simple on the lighting, he doesn't need much.
What's happening is happening in 24 though.
Yes, Yeah, he's got that scheduled for this year.
So what are you comfortable leaving in vehicle repair?
Maintenance, that'll be just your oil filters and
Say $1,000.
$1,000?
I don't know. I don't know I know I pay for an oil change every time. It's like $100 anymore. $100 bill.
The Benzies. All right, so
So go to 100.
1,000.
Leave 1,000.
Not bad for an old man.
Really, everybody up here.
You'll never catch up.
God willing.
Page 16, correct? So,
Sir.
So a couple highlights I had here was appeal appraisals. Used $600 last year. We've not used anything year to date. And we got $4,000 and it's carried over.
Oh,
And have you not had any of those?
I can address that. I was just waiting for you to
Yeah.
give me permission. Those, when I came on to office, we had it at $25,000. The only time I ever use that is if I have anybody that takes me to state and then I do pull an appraisal. I have very seldom used it, so I've taken it down and I've just left it at 5,000. I'm perfectly all right if you want to zero it and I just come to you when I have a state appeal. Because in my 10, 11 years, I think I've only had 3 state appeals. The only thing is, if I ever had one that was a Walmart or Meijer, those can cost 20,000, so it might be a big ask. So just give me a heads up.
You're coming in anyway, though.
I would be coming in for it anyway. So yeah, I mean, typically, if I have one, it's only $600.
Did you have one last year?
A state appeal, yes. One
That was 660.
Yeah.
600.
600.
600. Okay, so, I mean,
Yeah, I'd be okay with you taking it down to 0. I could come to ask.
about 30, 40.
Yes, 3 for one.
I just want to make sure I'm talking about
I'd say take it to $1,500. So she doesn't have to come to us if she gets a couple of them. And
I say leave 1,000.
yeah, I
well,
think
two of them would be 1,200 if the price stays the same.
So leave 1,200.
Yeah.
okay. So
4,000 to 1,200.
same thing with reassessment and PTABOA,
Peterbilt.
the acronym.
Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals.
Perfect.
Um,
I don't even need to say it. It's
Yeah.
PT.
We pay $125 for each of my PETA members. I have 5. Last year, so I don't have it in my head, but last year I think I had 4 meetings. I based this one off of 5.
Okay, so that's 875.
What is it?
You've got 3,000 in your line item, but you only spent $875 last year and you've spent 0 year to date.
Correct. I haven't had any appeals this year. That there usually has,
These funds just stay in reassessment.
Yeah, these are just,
Okay.
this is
All right.
just,
This is her fund.
this is her
Okay.
fund. This doesn't affect general or lit or.
All right. Never mind that.
Right, everything in your funds just stay in your funds if they don't get used.
Reassessment.
In the reassessment, I'm sorry, in the reassessment fund. If you don't use it this year, the state doesn't come in and take anything from you. It just stays.
So the increase in $1,500 in computer software, that's the same thing, right?
Under that same fund.
I just hate seeing increases.
Well, you know, it's in reassessment, but I mean, the expend on office supplies has been way below its budget.
the software line item, we have to send out Form 11s, Form 11As, and then I also have annually assessed mobile homes. Those are my reassessment mailings. So I use some of the software on that.
It's not coming out, I mean, at this point, I agree with you. I'd like to see 3,000 pare down to 1,000 and the office supplies pare down to even just last year's numbers, right? But I mean, it's not our budget necessarily, right?
I won't say it doesn't really matter, but it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Page 18.
So we only took the one line.
$2,800 a cut,
Which was, at least it was general.
2,800.
Appeal appraisal.
So much.
So this is gonna be a larger conversation when we get to it. And so part of that, I know not talking wages now, but part of that will be overhead. And change costs, address costs. Afraid to touch it too much until we
Yeah, just, I think, I agree.
come back at it after we talk about what we're doing.
The only thing I had on there was to ask, he said they knew they didn't have to buy ammunition very often, there was one time. Couldn't he buy that out if it's 2511? It's a very healthy fund.
I don't know if that is restricted to something like ammunition or not. Seems like we asked him that question.
Oh, did we ask him that question?
We actually have it written on there as a question to ask.
There's operating supplies under pretrial diversion and miscellaneous disbursement. So my thought process was maybe that 1,500 could be absorbed inside his own fund. That was my question.
It's a good question for him.
It's the ammo, because he wants to take his gun with him.
It was a new firearm, wasn't it?
Well, the new incoming person will have to have their own firearm.
Yeah, they tend to keep the firearm.
So
That ammunition line is a firearm, not ammunition. Okay.
Like it's a combination.
I thought it was a combination of both.
Probably both.
So that would be one where we're gonna change that
$800.
account description. The ammunition/firearm.
I don't know if we can change that one. Is that a one that's got to stay, Amy?
In general.
So can I add it? We can ask. Do you know it?
Yes, unless we put it in the 2511, then it wouldn't be in general and it probably has to say.
it could be there.
No, the sheriff department also uses.
I have a feeling it can't be.
It's got to stay ammunition room.
2511 would have to be.
What were the questions we're interested?
You want to just get a sense for where we all feel about this department right now, or you want to wait till personnel?
Let's wait.
Let's wait.
Okay.
Page 19.
We take 5 minutes, it's around 10 o'clock. I gotta make 3 phone calls,
Yep.
use the restroom.
We'll do 10 o'clock break.
Oh, I also asked, my question is if he couldn't take the ammo under, I guess, under the title, the 0660 title 4D, where the Thompson Reuters is, the Westlaw, 3,700, that's still general, right? So my question is if he couldn't take the ammo, could he take that 2,500 into his pretrial diversion? Could you take one of those into the pretrial diversion?
There's very specific things that you can take out of pretrial.
Your software, so the Thomson Reuters, that is your legal software. That is very specific to the legal world, which seems like maybe if ammunition couldn't, maybe pretrial diversion would allow. That's how you find people. That's how you. Because the clear is about searching. Because I pay for it too. I pay a lot more than that. They get a raise.
I have that as a program to search people.
So that would just be my other one is potentially if he, one of those two, if it was possible for him to take it under this, since his revenue is higher than his ask. He could absorb.
That department.
Huh?
The way it's on with the prosecutor's office.
Used to be me, but it's not anymore.
I had the courts, but
I don't think I have the prosecutor's office. I think I have 17, but I don't
I
have.
don't hear you still.
Well, I was never a prosecutor.
I think it shifted to you.
I haven't talked to him, but
Okay.
I had that in an email still.
it's posted outside on the board.
One's got Ruth buying it.
Oh.
It's Tony, prosecutor.
Is it really?
Motion prosecutors telling.
Yeah.
All right, well, I didn't,
There.
that's me, my fault. I haven't talked to him.
So you will.
I will call him.
Thank you very much.
Do you know which two we're asking about?
Yes.
2,500 for to go to 2,511.
25.
Very miserly tearing your post.
Because I forgot to, I used up all my tabs in my special thing my mother-in-law bought me last year. I got a lot less tabs this year. Went after my heart.
I think for both.
2511,
Some of these other ones.
Ammunition, which is Thompson Ruger.
yeah, Thompson.
Yeah, if the Thompson Reuter clear out of 3,700 underneath Title 4D or
The $1,500.
ammunition. Or both if he feels crazy.
And they go to Title 40 is what you're asking.
Can they go to pretrial first? Could either one of them go to 2,511? Because he takes in between 120 and 140 in that, and he's only budgeting 94.5 out of there. So he's got room.
Are we now to Purdue Extension?
Yep.
That's page 21.
I had a question under the contract there. 1,503. What's the plus 1%? Ernst Liddy, I get, but the plus 1%. Page 21.
They do a 1% increase on top of where they merged the Purdue
That's what I'm
contractual
guessing
and
it
the
means, but
community
the numbers-
developmental.
The numbers are way more than 1%.
The two, they merged the Purdue contract and the,
Development.
yes.
000 down.
So maybe with maybe the community development piece added on to the 119,438, came to just shy of the 135.
I could look that up from last year if you want me to. You want the two, I wrote down the number, sake. You want to write them down? I understood my book so much better this year. There was a lot less crying. I cried a lot last year.
Okay, anything else there? Good.
Page 22.
Food services.
Change anything out there,
No.
yeah.
Office supplies went up,
Oh dear.
and he hardly expended any.
I got no issues with any of that.
Take it back to 250 if you wanted.
You want to take it back to 250 or you want to leave it at 500?
Yeah, I've got no issues with his budget. Personally.
He runs a pretty
Yeah.
economical budget. Doesn't ask for much and just keeps giving to our veterans. Great job.
He does a great job.
I've heard nothing but positive.
23?
So Commissioner's budget, you want to take it right now before we jump into that, or
Yeah.
get through it first?
We're gonna skip over
Are you
ours.
gonna skip over ours?
Did I miss a page? Oh, I did. Jeez. Wait, council.
What consultant fees jumped?
It's the same amount budgeted last year.
I know, but we don't,
What incentive?
we haven't. Yes. Oh, that is the breakdown.
Officials.
Incentive?
Yes, would you like, here, I'll write it down for you.
Stipend?
I had it still written down
Thanks for that
from
stipend.
last year.
I was curious about that. And then, listen, I know we're not getting into it, but I vote we get rid of our raises. Let's pull them out.
Oh, ours? Yes, I agree.
Oh, I'm on board with that too.
Then we move travel in.
And we bumped it a lot because you guys, there are a lot of you going to conference and you will find next month, or might even be this month, next meeting, I'm bringing an additional appropriation to you guys for $5,000 because you're not gonna make it to the end of the year.
I think we got
You know-
really great information though.
You did it. And we want higher levels.
Oh, we have to be at those conferences. I can't wait to take me out the list for the one in September.
Is anybody going in September?
Go.
Yeah. I believe I'm on.
Planning on it.
Be down there and
Giving.
so the first meeting.
Very worthwhile.
I believe I've said yes, right?
I believe you did, Tony.
Yeah, I put it in my,
I will get with Abby.
Okay, I see that I got voted on too.
I'm pretty excited.
Talk about a smash coup. That was something.
So be down there Sunday evening.
Anything else on council budget?
no.
All right. Let's go up 10 minute break. Sound good?
I guess we don't need.
What was this?
Oh, we're gonna have new people though, aren't we? I'll say we haven't spent anything in computer equipment.
Oh.
Well, you did on me because I broke my screen.
You broke your screen.
Yeah, the screen just went out.
You broke your screen.
I'm gonna. That was when you take it on there.
Yeah, you better not. You're stuck. You can't move quickly. You're fine.
Pick it out. I don't understand why. You?
What's, where is
Just in my bag.
Okay, I couldn't keep up on both of them, so I'm only doing one. I couldn't do two of them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just freaking me out a little bit.
I moved over adopted some of the trade changes that we made. I've already just made a couple. Already just what I've heard.
I was gonna say, I don't know when you came in, but I've got them all written down here, with the departments and the number. If you just, can you put them in there?
Yeah.
I'm interested in.
I think you're waiting because
I'll take a little bit more break real quick. And then I will be back for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, no, you gotta do what you gotta do.
If I could sit in here, I would.
We're streaming, you probably don't want to.
Probably not many of us that haven't already seen that.
I'm not in camera.
This is true. That's a good thing. We have to censor it.
Okay. Where'd my note go?
It's just all.
Behind you.
People are out walking.
Yeah.
They're porches, they're crazy.
turn it back into a prison every.
You're fine, you got no room.
Yeah.
Probably need to get with planning ordinance or building ordinance for, because that shouldn't be, there needs to be like an ag, that's all zoned ag. So it needs to be ag residential or something that you can't do that.
Well, they're working on it now, so.
Yeah, maybe they're, like I said, maybe.
Is that an actual, he's not on a farm, he's on a,
No.
right by the railroad tracks,
It's a
right?
postage stamp size house lot.
Right by the railroad tracks, yeah.
I mean, is it 80 by 60?
Right,
Is it
100
100 by 40? Yeah, it's not very big.
I mean, I think I dealt with him when I was with enforcement, I know which one it is, it's the north of the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
What?
Oh, I did get text. He ended up having to pull off the house because the dumpster guy, his truck, something happened to it. So it's supposed to be back in on Friday.
Look at all of those babes.
That's old.
Pull up because of
Well, yeah, the boys look young.
Yeah.
the business on Friday.
But the guy couldn't pick up the dumpster.
That's something.
Yeah, sorry.
That's,
Totally
well,
invading your
that's the
space.
last
Filled up
one
the top.
that we have like that, with the exception of the wedding.
Back in on Friday.
And that one wasn't a really good picture.
Well, that's sad. Wedding pictures are supposed to be the best.
Yeah, well, Jesse wouldn't let me call her photographer and tell her what I thought. She made me keep my mouth shut. So
What are you thinking about?
I take it back.
They got, they're popping up.
Well, it's pulling to do all this.
John said he was gonna check with the city to see, because I'm sure there's something there that we probably need to ask at least.
Yeah, I'll get with, Austin on that.
I was here.
Oh, you're still here? Yeah.
I was standing out in the parking lot talking to everybody.
What?
On the fire alarm went off in the judicial center yesterday. So electrical.
Hey,
I have a motor from,
I'm good. I think it's gonna start back up, but I just wanted to make sure we took a break, and so I just wanted to make sure that you made it to work.
Yeah.
So. I was standing out. I was standing out.
You'd have so much more money if you didn't hit Starbucks so much.
What are you looking at back there? Huh? I see you looking back here.
I'm not worried about them here.
Over here, what's?
I'm doing my football.
No, up here.
No,
Up here.
I'm making sure, I'm trying to make sure no one can see like what we're doing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't have any counties that pull up right now.
That sucks.
that's not.
No.
Did you see the back of that guy's head yesterday? And then.
From yesterday?
Yeah, this front row, that camera, and somebody else has told me about it too, that it, I don't know if you want to move that row back or it'll raise the camera, because the front row,
Just cut them up.
Yeah.
it picks up. So if you have a bald spot, you better not stop.
Well, they're getting my bolt spot right now, that's for sure.
Good morning.
Sorry.
Thanks for being here today, guys.
Sure.
I hope it goes the way you want it to. Oh, yeah, talking about money, it's so much fun.
Talking to somebody? Oh, you're on your phone.
I'm talking to my daughter.
Oh.
Okay, I love you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, baby, bye.
Like, CC, who are you talking to?
I was just talking to Madeline, she was on her way to work.
She's a wife.
Starbucks.
Yeah, the rolling ball that's wet, you know, like this.
But he brought it.
It's not.
No. Just FYI, that's not, it's still live. Oh, so just heard me talk to my daughter about the fact that she had Starbucks. I'm sorry.
Right now, there's 2 people watching.
Mike and who else?
Who?
Mike and who else?
Hey, Mike.
I do like pause. Yeah, there's two.
Got it?
No, if I hit there, that doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Yeah, it does. It's paused.
No, it's not. Still live stream, I just got on it.
Watched it.
I can still see Bill moving.
It is.
Bill's still moving.
If I ended, I'd have to go through it up again.
Can you, right? Click your, click your mouse.
Right here?
No, just go back to not yet. Go back to live. Actually, I do think you have to hit end stream, and then it just goes, it pops up that thing, and then you end stream.
If you need to make any phone calls,
And-
I have that office across the hall from me.